We have our higher rev rate player at first, Mike Jones from the GCU Collegiate Team. He's going to be comparing his Hazmat Solid to his Axiom and his Scorpion Low Flare. Let's see what he thinks.
Knowing it's a Friday night at Bolero Mesa, I know it was open league play, so I knew I had to play a little differently. So I was able to stand 25 and get it out to, like, let's say the 7 board, because I knew it would hook back, knowing all the urethane that people usually plays with the house balls. But that ball snapped back when it needed to. I threw a bad shot, you'll see soon, and it came back perfectly. Also stunned 8, never happened, but you know, that ball is really good, and it reads the lane perfectly. It's really smooth, and it hooks back when it needs to. Okay, so I don't know if that ball was just really good or if the lane was just playing a little differently, but I'm going to compare it to my Axiom and see if that plays similar or if it's the actual ball. So the lane is definitely doing what I thought it would do. Throwing my Axiom is another Sim Solid, but I love the Axiom, so I'm pretty biased to it. So the Hazmat did shock me on how it played like my Axiom. I was able to miss a couple more boards to the right with the Axiom because I don't know if I could trust the Hazmat yet, but after a couple shots with it, I could see that I could trust it as much as I trust my Axiom, and it's a really good piece in the bag right now. After throwing shots with my Hazmat and my Axiom, I'm going to compare it to my Scorpion Low Flare as well and see whether it should hook more. But if it does not, then I know that, you know.
They lost.
Okay, so after throwing 5 shots with my Scorpion Low Flare, I could see that it does hook more because, as I said before, I knew it would hook more because I hit it with 500 and then 1500 to like clean it off and get it back to box finish. That ball's really good. That's one of my favorite pieces right now. And the Hazmat definitely did its job when it came to these lanes because this urethane was bugging out today. But the Scorpion Low Flare and Axiom both did their part, but the Hazmat definitely played its well, and it made it to where I can toss up between all 3 of them. After throwing the Hazmat Solid, I'm gonna give it a fire, just based off the fact that it react just like my Axiom, and I'm in love with the Axiom ball, so having something that can replace it through Hammer as well, it makes it better for me because with GCU, I need to use Hammer stuff, and it gives me that opportunity to be able to play that same line with a different ball, but the Hazmat Solid reacts very well. It's smooth down lane, even on house shot with plenty of urethane thrown on it. It's able to play through it, and if you see in the clips, I got plenty of strikes with it. So I know that's a good ball that you could use probably in the beginning of the game, probably game 1. And if you want to, you could probably pull it out game 3. Not recommended, but game 1 is definitely a good ball for you, and it'll get you whatever you need. Even if you need to move a little right, it'll give you everything that you need.
Up next, we have our straighter player, Kevin Robertson. He's going to be comparing his Hazmat Solid to his Katana Strike and Purple Reactive Solid. Let's see what he thinks.
Search, but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard, and I wonder where you are.
I think, and I'm not a bowling scientific, master, but I do think that the ball picks up a little bit earlier and uses most of its energy in kind of the front. But if it sees friction, it does turn. I couldn't really get it out far enough to not, 3, 6, 10 or whatever. But when it I mean, it sat in the oil. It's still finished, but you can just tell it used a lot of its energy in the front. Yeah, I expect my katana strike to react in a certain a little bit early as well, but I think it just has more in the back end. But compared to the Hazmat, we'll kind of see just the major differences. The purple reactive, very smooth for me, and then just sharp in the back. So I kind of want to see the differences as to how far down lane it can go compared to it, and kind of where I would, play off of one versus the other. I'd probably start with the Hazmat and then end with that, but we'll see. Hazmat for sure is using much more energy in the front. It has less of a back end, whereas my katana was able to sometimes just kind of finish a little bit better, but still was using a lot of energy in the front, but not as much. The Hazmat kind of burned up unless you got to the friction, and both balls kind of read off of the dry. So yeah, that was kind of thoughts. Now I'm going to compare to my purple reactive. It's drilled to be sharper in the back end, so I expect to see that, just using less energy in the front, and just a sharper back end, just to show you the differences. It's a symmetric mid performance, but we'll kind of see how it goes. You should see it kind of skate and then snap.
I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
It did kind of what I thought it was going to do. I figured it was going to skate a little bit further before making its read. That's just how I've got it drilled, but definitely weaker. It's using less in the front, way more in the back, which is good. But you can see the difference in the change of direction for the ball, just as you'll kind of see the Hazmat kind of roll on its own at the end into the pocket versus like the purple reactive skates and then snaps and finds its way to the pocket. It's just one of those things. I will say that it's probably in the fire range for me. I'm in between fire and blah. I haven't thrown it enough to really know fully, but for me, it'd be in that fire range. It does kind of remind me a little bit of my katana when it was like more of a fresh cover, and I've had a decent amount of success with it. So I'm hoping this is very similar to it. I would probably use it on just some patterns. Maybe something like 41, 42 feet, maybe even 43. But I'm no pro, but this is one of those things. I would use it around there. Just be able to control your speed and your angles, and it should do all right for you. But yeah, I'm gonna put it in the fire.
We hope you found this video useful. As always, if you like videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.